Everyone keeps asking me the same question. Did you leave the Dominican Republic? Are you moving back to the United States for good? Or are you just done with DR altogether? But the truth is, I didn't leave the Dominican Republic. I came back to build something bigger. And today, I want to give you a small glimpse of what that actually means. So that way you understand and you have an idea. Because I feel like a lot of people are lost and I don't want you to be lost. So, if you've been following this channel, you already know my journey. You saw me living in the Dominican Republic. You saw the apartments that I show in different areas. You saw the neighborhoods that I show that I've walked through. You saw the beaches, the rivers, the food, the city, the culture. And a lot of you connected with that. Because for a lot of people watching this channel, the Dominican Republic represents something. And to them, it represents freedom. It represents a slower life, a different way of living. And naturally, when I came back to the United States, all these questions started flooding in. Why did you leave, man? Where'd you go? Are you going back? Are you staying in the US? Was the Dominican Republic just not what you expected? But the truth is, my story was never about just moving to the Dominican Republic. It was about building something. That was the main thing, to build something. Now, this is going to be the problem that nobody talks about. There's something I noticed when I was living in DR. A lot of people talk about moving abroad. A lot of people show the lifestyle. They show the beaches. They show the cheap apartments. They show the culture. They show the food. But there's one question that nobody really answers. And that's, how do you actually live there long term? How do you actually sustain yourself? How do you make money? Because the reality is, moving to a whole nother country, that's the easy part. But building a life, that right there is the actual hard part. So, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in the blanks because this is the missing piece. I had realized something. There are thousands of people who want to leave the United States. Thousands. Because they watch my videos and I get messages from them. They want a different lifestyle. They want freedom. They want to live in places like the Dominican Republic. But they all run into the same wall. And that wall is income. Because if you don't have income, the dream ends super fast. You can have the beach. You can have the apartment. But eventually, that money is going to run out. And then what are you going to do? You go back home? So that's what I'm trying to focus on right now. This is why I came back to the United States, so it makes sense. The real reason I came back to the United States was because of that. Not because I gave up on Dominican Republic, but because I realized something. If I was going to build something real, I had to build it the right way. I had to build something that could actually give people an opportunity, not just inspiration, not just travel videos, not just showing you apartments and showing you beaches and showing you clubs or showing you restaurants, but an actual opportunity. That was always my big thing. So this is the vision, right? Imagine this for a second. Imagine you can move to the Dominican Republic right now and still have real income. I'm talking about making 60 to 100 grand a year. And imagine you can work remotely. You can build a skill. You can generate money and actually live the lifestyle you want without downgrading your life. Because that's the part that nobody talks about. A lot of people will show you the cheap life. Even I've showed the cheap life. But that was never my full vision. My vision was always bigger. And that's what I want to bring into fruition. Right? When I was in the United States before I had ever went to DR, I had money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? I had cars, I had Camaro, all kind of stuff, man. I traveled. I've been to Seattle, Florida, Texas, Louisiana. I had freedom. And when I went to the Dominican Republic, I had realized something. Why should someone have to downgrade their life just to live in DR? Why can't someone live in Dominican Republic and still build something big? Why can't someone live there and still drive the car that they want, whether it be a Corvette or a Porsche or a BMW or whatever? Why can't they travel? Why can't they build businesses? Why can't they create opportunity? And that question has stayed in my mind the entire time that I was there. So this is the bigger idea that I have. Eventually this idea has started forming when I was there. What if the problem wasn't actually the country? What if the problem was just a lack of opportunity? What if the missing piece was a system that allowed people to actually generate income remotely? A system where people could learn a valuable skill and work from anywhere and create real income no matter where they lived at. It could be in Thailand, it could be in Japan. That's when this vision actually started forming and actually started making sense. And I had to go through this process to understand it, right? And that's when I started thinking about something bigger. Not just living in Dominican Republic, but building something stable there. An actual place, an actual hub, a place where people could come together and work and learn and build an actual income and create opportunity for even more people right in Santo Domingo. That's where my mind is at right now. And I'm trying to lay the foundation and groundwork from that. It's a community angle. Because doing something big isn't about sitting on the beach and just enjoying the views. Doing something big is about building something that changes other people's lives. A community, a network, an opportunity that people can take advantage of. Something that didn't exist before and it still doesn't exist today. And that's the direction that my channel is heading towards, right? And that's what I want to get across. So if you're wondering, did I actually leave the Dominican Republic? Here's your answer. No, I didn't leave. I just stepped back so that way I can build something first, something bigger, something that you will be able to benefit from, something that could change the way people live abroad. And when the time is right, I'll show you exactly what that is. I'm not going to reveal it, but trust me when I say this. The next chapter of this whole journey right now that you guys are watching is going to be a lot bigger than beaches and then just apartments. And if you've been watching this channel from the beginning, you're going to see it unfold first because you've been here from the start.